discussing on a topic that touches on a relationship and marriage, and today we're going to be talking about the drawing the line between singlehood and married life. We are asking the question whether character traits that we project or live with as a single can possibly live with us as in our marital homes. We also are going to be looking at those implications that some things that we do as singles could follow and impact our marriage lives as husbands and wives. We are discussing this with panelists who are in the house, so already seated with us, Apostle Alfred Essingue is a regular panelist on Tuesday editions of Prime Hour. We're glad to have you.
Good evening, Mr. Leo. Good evening, Rev Ken. Happy to be here again today after being away for a short while. We had some other engagements, and I'm happy that we're going to be touching something that is very sensitive. It's going to help a lot of people today. So please stay tuned and get some other people anchor on your television right now.
We're also in the company of Rev Kenneth, who is a regular panelist on Tuesday's editions of Prime Hour. We're glad to have you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Leo. Good evening, Apostle. We are so glad to be on board again this evening. It's always a pleasure, and we are trusting that our viewers are glued to their screens for us to be able to fellowship again on the airways of My Media Prime. I want to say hello to Madam Asanji Yvette, hello to the technical team. We are glad, and we know we're going to have a great time this evening again.
Madam Asanji Yvette is also going to be participating on today's edition of the program from the Northwest Regional Capital. We are sending our love and greetings to every person watching us from the Northwest and the Southwest regions, from the North, Center, South regions of the country, not forgetting littoral region where we are broadcasting live from. We are starting with you, Apostle Essingue. Can we readily draw a relationship between the lives we live as singles and the lives we live as husband and wife?
Yeah, Mr. Leo, all this comes about preparation for marriage. A lot of people are taken by surprise, and they find themselves getting to marriage when they are not yet graduated from singlehood. Mm-hmm. You know, you just, planning as a young girl, as a young boy, you just see one other person just come in and ask you, I want to marry you, and so on and so forth. And then you begin to think about the lover that you're there with, and then he's not even ready to tell you that he wants to marry you, but this one is ready to marry you. You get into that particular relationship. I tell you, it's going to be hell for you and that particular person, because you are not yet ripe for marriage. You are not yet prepared for marriage. You are just like, okay, let me get married, and then so that time does not catch up with me, age does not catch up with me, and so on and so forth. So a lot of people enter into marriage unaware. They are not ready to, to take away the singlehood in them so that they can embrace the newness of life that comes in marriage. And that's why you see people in marriage and they still have friends who are singles. All their friends are single people. They don't find themselves around married people. They talk like single people. They go to nightclubs again like single people. They do things like single people. You ask yourself, what is the problem? It's just simple. They were not ready for marriage. They didn't understand the concept of marriage. They didn't understand what that institution of marriage is all about. So people get in unaware, and then when they get there, a lot of problems begin to come in, and they begin to think of how to divorce. And you hear them tell you that marriage is like a prison. And yes, marriage is like a prison. They'll be telling you such words like that because they are not yet coming out from singlehood. A lot of them are ready to go out of marriage and stay single again because it is part of them. It is their life. They are hungry to be single again. Now, how many people are hungry to be single again? A lot of them. You know, when a man gets up and then marry a young girl who is still trying to find life from maybe the age of 18 right to 25, you get married to those kind of people. Obviously, the single nature of life should be in them, except the ones who are trained from their mother's homes and their father's homes to be wives and husbands, because a lot of people are not trained to be wives and husbands. They just get up and then they marry. They just get up, as they find small money in their hands, they marry. As they can borrow, as they can do whatever to be able to turn that marriage to that wedding to hold, they consider that wedding is marriage. And when they enter into it, they still find themselves doing the same things they were doing when they were single. So it's really alarming. Everywhere today you see this particular syndrome where people are crowded. Married women, they don't want to leave their sets of friends. They don't want to leave those groups of friends they used to talk those foolish things. They still talk foolish things. They still browse the internet the same like a single person. They still chat with other men and women on the internet. And then you begin to ask yourself, why did they get married in the first place? And then you begin to hear something like hookup. You hear something like hookup. Hookup is that particular situation where a woman is in the house, you know she's in the house, but she talks with other men outside and they propose some amount of money, and she goes even for a 30 minutes or a 20 minutes and then sleep with a man, get her money, and come back home silently. Okay. All those behaviors are single life.
Reverend Tato, when you look at what's happening in our families today, is it possible to draw a clear line between when you were single and when you got married?
You see, relationships suffer today, Mr. Leo, because when people get married, they don't draw that line.
Okay.
There are people who have graduated physically from singlehood, but psychologically, they are still back in their singlehood, which is posing a lot of problems. There are factors which characterizes a change of power. That's one way to put it. When you are single, you are the master of yourself, especially when you've graduated from your parents' hand to a certain extent. I say to a certain extent because nobody can ever be too big to be a child to his or her parents. But now there is a certain dimension that when you are attending adulthood, there's a certain dimension of independence you gain from your parents. So this independence is lost to a certain good extent when you finally get married. We have people who, before they got married, they had a way they managed their money. They had a way they managed themselves. They had a way they managed their emotions. They had a way they managed their time. But after they've gotten married, they are tempted to forget that they have a husband to attend to, they have a wife to attend to. They are tempted to forget that they have a husband to be accountable to, they have a wife to be accountable to. They are tempted to forget that they have a wife to be responsible for or a husband to be responsible for. And when their spouse starts feeling that there is a missing link between what marriage was constructed to be and what it is, they start feeling frustrated. Then at times you will have the impression that the man is being too demanding to the wife, or vice versa, but of which if somebody got married and then graduated from singlehood and began to function with the mindset of a married person, it is going to help us out in this particular domain seriously. What I'm saying is this: for marriage and singlehood to be too identical in somebody's life, it means there is a very serious challenge for that person. After you've gotten married, there is a serious need for you to bring back yourself to the norms or within the framework of marriage, to understand that as a married man, as a married woman, the way you speak has to change to reflect especially the person you've gotten married to. For example, those who have gotten married to, let's say, a pastor, a female or a male pastor, you won't begin to function the same way you were functioning when you were still single. You can't get married to maybe a chief of service in a particular organization, and then you are still moving around with destroyed genes the way you used to do when you were a single girl. You've gotten married to somebody who has a status, and especially to the women. I think we have said this in this platform before. I don't know whether it's a post I made on Facebook. A man gives a woman a status. a woman too gives a man a status. But the status a man gives a woman when she gets married to him is more relevant and weightier than the status that a woman gives the man. For example, when a man gets married to a king, to a queen, he is still the Mr. Somebody that he was. But when a woman gets married to a king, automatically she becomes a queen. When she was in her father's house, she was called Ngwa, Erika Lu. Now she has gotten married to somebody, and before you know it, the ID card will be asked Epus or Ne somebody. It means there is an inheritance of the man's identity that comes on, not only by these names we call, but there is a certain mindset that is supposed to be inculcated. The next thing I want to also say is the aspect of domicile. When a woman gets married to a man, the law says you are supposed to follow the man to live wherever the man decides that the family is supposed to live, except two of you come to a consensus and agree on this particular factor. But then, as a single girl, you could choose that today I live in Susa, the next day I move me to Yaoundé, or the other time I'm back to Lebialem. It will be, in fact, it will be up to you and to your convenience. So marriage is a serious game changer when it comes to lifestyle. If you get married to somebody, there is a very serious need for you to make sure the adjustment that is needed for you to fit into the person's life and the person fit into your own life is taken with a lot of seriousness. Sacrifices and concessions must be made. There must be certain aspects that your convenience and your comfort, it will be sacrificed in order for the relationship to take the dimension it's supposed to take. Many people want to maintain independence even after getting married, and that is where the challenge is. There is a limited level of independence that you can have in marriage, but there must be a dimension of vulnerability that a man and a woman should maintain towards one another. Those are some of the changes that come with marriage. Marriage is not a period where you have just moved from your parents' house and you are renting away from your parents' house. It's not just a time where two of you stay together and are making children. It is also a period where two of you have to reflect that there is a covenant you've entered into, and many things have to change and take the dimension that they're supposed to take as far as God's template of marriage is concerned.
Okay. Apostle Alfred Essingue, let us assume that there is supposed to be a translation, or I don't know, a translation from singlehood to marriagehood. Assuming that you had a circle of friends that you were too bonded with, and now you are now married, do you now change a circle of friends? You change the way you relate with them simply because you've moved from singlehood to marriage?
Well, one of the first things that someone should do when you get married is to create a new relationship with the person you're getting married to. Concentrate on that relationship. You build the relationship to an extent where you begin to evaluate whether the friends you had before can help you succeed in this relationship. You can go ahead with those who are really helpful. Maybe some friends are very helpful even though they are single. I'm telling you the truth. Some friends, they are there, but they are very mature in the way they do their things. They are composed, they are respectful. The advice they give you is enough to know whether you can continue with them or not. But as a matter of fact, there are other set of friends that you have to just discard. They will just be telling you about, boy, free yourself. You just did say this. People don't marry this, you will waste your life. Do this and do that. And when you start hearing those kind of things, you know that you don't need those kind of friends. Now it's just normal for you to get mature to know when to leave and when to stay. We must always know this. Even some friends we have, we must know when to leave them and when to stay there. Because you can be there and lose yourself, lose your purpose, lose your focus, and you even lose your life. That's what it is. We know of people who have broken some people's relationships, and the next time you're hearing they are getting married to those friends. A friend will come very close to you as a single lady, is getting close to you and your husband and that kind of a thing. Before you want to see, people have problems because you now tell your friend everything that is happening to you and your husband. and then she uses those things against you, and then begin to explain to your husband, you know, how bad you are and some kind of things. And your husband also knows that you betray him by taking some of the confidential information that is in your marriage and then tell a single person. Oh, it's a terrible thing. So it's a better I marry this girl that comes to me and show me some love and concern. We know very well that a lot of ladies, when they get married, they separate themselves from the community of friends. We also know that there are some men, when they get married, they separate themselves from their communities of friends, especially if they know the kind of friends they had and the kind of agenda they have towards the society. You know, you cannot sit with and who you don't need. You must be bold enough and courageous enough to make those steps. It is always very important. I don't easily cut off relationships, but when it gets to a point where I'm losing myself, I'm losing my purpose, I'm losing my focus, I'm losing on everything I am losing on, what I stand for I can no longer hold on to. I just shift a little bit. Sometimes I don't close the doors, I just let it be so that they can get mature. If I wait for them to get mature, they can't get mature, I move on with my life. But if I see them getting mature, we can again fix that relationship and make things to work. There are always times like that. It's not everyone you should hang on with, not everyone you should stay with. You should identify people, their focus, their goal, their purposes before you associate with them. They don't necessarily must be a single person or a married person. Think about it and work on it. You will see how life will be so good for you. Your marriage is suffering today and creeping today because of the kind of friends you keep. Watch out.
Because of the kind of friends we keep. But is it also a guarantee that if you were to move a circle of friends to start relating with married women, okay, so you now are in perfect order because you've dropped the ladies who were not married?
Yeah, no, Mr. Leo, I think Apostle was, in fact, he brought a balance in the submission he made.
Yeah, but yeah, away from it, is there a guarantee that because you now are relating with married women, because you are now married, or you now are relating with married men, things actually are going to work out well for you?
Mr. Leo, I think marriage gives a status and not values.
Okay.
Yes. What marriage confides on people is a status, it is not values. There are people who are married, but they still have a porous set of values, and these are not people you want to associate with. Yet, there are some people who are single, but by virtue of how they have decided to build up themselves and model themselves, they have, in fact, some amazing values that you hang around with them, you'll be able to pick up one or two things. The advice, or I think that Apostle was giving in terms of associating married people to married people, is just that they have a set of challenges that are peculiar to them. They have a set of perspectives that are peculiar to them. They have things that when they say they can discuss together, it will be absurd, you know, for maybe a married person, maybe who is having a problem of sexuality in his or her relationship, to sit with a single and be discussing that challenge. But among married people, it is going to be, in fact, much easier. It is going to be, you know, it is going to be something that they can discuss without any much ado. But the challenge that many people have today in their relationships is that they associate with people whose values are not in accordance or in sync with their own values. Now, there is something I believe about friendship, or the law of association. The people you associate with are supposed to be people you have shared values with. So friendship that is built on material worth, friendship that is built on, you know, on interest. Yeah, it's true. There is always going to be interest in every friendship, but there is something that is more solid at the foundation of friendship, which is values. If my values are not compatible with yours, it will be difficult for us, because at a certain point in time, maybe you and I will be equally economically empowered, which I don't see any interest in you don't see any interest in me. That maybe because there's some people they are after somebody because they know this person will survive them financially or something. Now, if it gets to a point where you are functioning with somebody and both of you are at a certain level of economic a certain level of economic empowerment, what is going to keep the relationship together is values. So if you are a married person I want to advise that you seek to associate with somebody whose values are compatible with your own values as a married person too. If there is somebody who is unmarried that has some values or has something that can be a blessing to your relationship, why not associate with the person? But
Okay.
if we draw lines that the married must associate with the married, but there are certain levels of interactions which you will not want to interact with singles. For example, taking advice. There was a case, there was a guy, somebody said, a lady was complaining that her husband traveled and had not called for, in fact, till the next day she did not call. So the guy was so mad. I said, how can you get married to your wife, you travel and you don't call? And when he finally got married, traveled, his first travel, 3 days he had not spoken to the wife. So most often when people are not yet married, there is this utopia, there is this imaginary beautiful marriage that some of them watch in series. They say, no, when I'm married, this is what I'm going to be doing with my husband. I'm going to do this to my wife. I'm going to always give them a peg. I'm going to always embrace them. I'm going to carry them on the back. I'm going to beat them. No. The Frenchman says, on juge le maçon au pied du mur. When you are finally gotten married, when you are right there, and you are doing those things, we can now applaud you and say you are doing it well. If it is only the theory, the principles that you are doing, in fact, everybody can talk theory. Everybody can present the principles you're presenting. It is when you are in there and you are practicing these things you're talking about, we will not say you are a wife indeed, you are a husband indeed.
Okay. Good evening, Mr. Asanji Yvette. Please let us take a listen to your first intervention for tonight's program.
Hello, Mr. Leo. Good evening. Good evening to my co-panelists. Good evening to our televiewers. Like they rightly say, you don't prepare for war at the battlefront. You prepare for that battle before the battlefront. So if you want to go on a battle, you prepare for that battle before you get into that. So the kind of lifestyle you live today as a single, it has a lot to do with who you will be when you're married. It has a lot to do with your marital state, if your marriage will succeed or it's going to fail. Let me start with an example of this cheating aspect. You see girls cheating. I mean, the rate of girls cheating today is even alarming. In those days, we knew that boys were the ones, championing this cheating of a thing. But today, the girls have equally taken over. So when you see a girl cheating and saying that, no, I'm just doing this for now. When I get married, I'll be faithful to my husband. Or when you see a guy cheating, they always hide behind that context of I'm an African man, so I can have 3, 4 girls. Now that lifestyle you're living, what makes you think that when you get married, it's going to stop? Because most of them think, no, this is just my single life. Let me just flex. Let me just enjoy. When I get married, okay, I'm going to be faithful. No, faithfulness does not fall from the sky. It is something you cultivate in you. If you don't stand for something, you fall for anything. So if you cannot stand up for faithfulness, even while you are dating, you can neither stand for faithfulness when you are married. That's why I think my quote of today reads, confused generation. This is a very confused generation, where ladies marry guys who have money and cheat on the man with guys they love. Men marry women that have good character and cheat on her with Miss Beauty. So they will date Miss Beauty. After they've dated Miss Beauty, they leave Miss Beauty, go and look for a good and humble character lady to marry. Then after they've married the lady and kept in the house, they go back to Miss Beauty because of the boats, because of the brides and all of that. Now, this is why I call this generation a confused generation. With this kind of lifestyle, tell me what kind of marriage we are going to be having in the future. What kind of marriages, from the way singles are living today, what kind of marriages? Honestly, I'm seeing like marriages in the nearest future will be like, there'll be a time bomb. I mean, they will eventually be exploding. Because when you look at ladies today, they live anyhow. I counsel a lady in my office, she's been dating she's dating a guy, another one guy for 3 years, dating another one for 2 years. And she claims that she has been confused on who to choose. So you've been dating 2 of them, sleeping with 2 of them, and still confused on who. I said, okay, now, do you know that even if I want to counsel you, if through this counseling now, you already have a mind, you already have a fixed mind based on who you want to marry. And I know why. One of them is sex. You've already weighed the 2 of them. Like you've put them on a scale, and you've weighed them already, and you already know that, no, this particular person that you have been dating for long, there are people, I don't want to call the tribe, but there are people that are exposed, there are people that are sexually active. So if you've been dating this person for this length of time, it means you are actually, you've also been, that sexual activeness in you has been activated equally. She said yes. I said, okay, which means that if you want to start choosing or looking at who to choose right now, you see that your biases will come on who can have sex with you better. And she said yes. So imagine that this is the kind of way singles are living. I was talking to her. I said, okay, you've been dating these 2 people. Even if one of them, if both of them discover that you've been double dating, and one of them still decides to go ahead and marry you, do you know there will be trust issues forever in that marriage? Just knowing that you could double date, cheat on me for that length of time and I could not discover it. It shows that you are a master planner. You are good at it. So what proves that you will get married and be faithful? That proof is not there. So the kind of lifestyle singles are living, I want to say that whatever you're planting today, you cannot plant corn and harvest beans tomorrow. Whatever you're planting today is what you're going to harvest in marriage. Mr. Leo will be coming back.
But she's raising some very startling revelations that the rate at which women are cheating today is becoming alarming and even threatening to overtake what was used to be known as the game of the men. How do we justify this new trend, where it is expected that, okay, when you move into the class of the married, you now receive wisdom from your peers? But listen to what Mr. Asanji, isn't this also scary? Because if you say you are running away, it's like running away from Frostland from Coalland to Frostland. You no longer want to relate with the singles because you think that, okay, I'm now in this circle of mature-minded ladies who would now tell me that we have to be humble, we have to be respectful, we don't need to cheat. But what Mrs. Asanji is saying that is scary, yeah?
Mr. Leo, even in the church circles, you will see young girls in the church who were in the youth meeting. When they get married, they move to the women's group. Yeah, they invite you over to the women's group because they have to give you some trainings and some teachings on how to be a good wife and how to live successfully with your husband. They always do that. But unfortunately, these trainings should not take place only after people are married. We are advising that if girls have reached a certain age where they are ripe for marriage, it is better they join the women's circle or the mature women's circle, whereby they will be able to learn a lot of things, a lot of culture on how to live with husbands and the family and in-laws and all the like. When we talk about all of these emotional issues and things that are taking place in marriage today, we are talking about people who have been influenced by their peers. Usually singles are always associating with peers, even though we agree that there are some younger ladies who like to hang out but with big girls. They want to be in the big girl circle, and most of the times these big girls are not married women, and the influence with which they influence you, or the impact with which they impact your life, is usually getting out of the norms of marriage. Now, some of these things are not revolution per se, because they are very common in our society today, where women are leading. They're actually leading because they know the skill, they know the game. Because it's a phone, it's just a phone call. And you can leave your wife in the morning that you're going to work, and then, you know, from 10, 11, she has already gone and done everything and come back. The highest you just need to do is to pick a market bag, you go to the market, and you branch somewhere and do what you're doing, and in the space of 1 hour, you're back to the house. And that is the common way these things are happening now. I said, we look all over today, you hear of woke up. I've heard of situations where girls go and leave their pictures at some of the hotels, and when a man is in need of a woman, they show them the pictures and everything, and the man select from the pictures, this is the person I want, and then immediately the bar attendant or the receptionist calls for the lady, and then what happens. And unfortunately, many of these ladies are married women. They don't go there in the guise of married women, they go there as single women, because you get married, but your singlehood did not leave you. You still feel that you need that pleasure, you need that passion, just like what she said. There are some particular groups of people, especially some tribes, that are having this high libido. They feel that they should be able to satisfy themselves anytime they want. And of course, that thing does not happen in marriage, because marriage, there's a lot of responsibility. Is very demanding. Sometimes people are stressed up, sometimes nervousness and other things will make a man not even have time to really satisfy a woman in one way or the other. So these women are bound to go out there for a catch-up, especially those that have already known some of those things when they were singles. So they knew these things when they were singles, and they imported it into marriage. And when they're into marriage, they begin to feel, they begin to judge their relationship, they begin to judge their husband, they begin to judge their husband based on what they used to get when they were out there. A lot of the girls who got married because of money, they said the man has money and whatever. When they come and they discover that the man is not giving them money the way they expected, they begin to go back to those other guys that they left who could even give them something or one thing or the others. Those guys that can send them 2,000s, 10,000s, and you know they have about 15 of them. They call, you just call this one, Master send me 2,000 for the. You want Master send me credit. Master I need part. This one I need the. They send it to you. That's the kind of thing. Now the set of people that are really getting this impact are some of these mature men who go to marry younger girls. Mature men, truly. I don't know why some of these men prefer this. Yes, I also understand that some of the men around the age of 54 to 60, they are still very sexually active. Some, very few, when you want to talk in that. But in the majority set of it, the men at that age are not really active sexually, but you find them going for these young girls who are not even up to the age where they are matured enough to face emotional black down or black up. So it becomes a problem. What will happen? These young girls will find themselves back to the streets. They will find themselves back with neighbors. They will find themselves back with exes. They will find themselves back with those places. Now, why would an old man go to marry a young girl? You know, you want to, according to you, you want the fire. You know, it's a fresh body, it's a fresh blood, and it's fresh everything. But the truth is, to keep such people down is very difficult. That is why the women are leading in the field of cheating, because the concept which they had when they were getting into marriage, they didn't meet it. As a matter of fact, they would just go out and continue from where they ended, because the singlehood did never left them, and they are ready to do anything. So I tell my people, if you must marry mature women, who can master their emotions. Even what they got when they were single ladies, they will understand that now that I'm married, even if I don't get it, I can still manage it. But some other people won't manage it, and that's why you see the world is going this way, this going. I must accept that, technology is also affecting a lot of people. When you watch some of those pornographic materials and all the like, and you want somebody to calm you down or put you down, and they cannot do it, you're bound to find yourself in the streets again, behaving like a young girl or whatever. Sometimes you miss those single days when you used to do all the styles and everything, and now that you're married, you can't have it. So you're forced to go back to those kind of things. So you need help, you need an advice in order for you not to lose your morals totally. You have to get help, and then call for help, maybe for someone that can be able to help you, and they will help you in that particular situation.
Now, how do you prepare for marriage as a single person? Because we have been talking about our failures to graduate from singlehood to marriagehood. How do you prepare for that so that you are equipped, mature enough to be able to identify what to drop so that you don't carry it into your matrimonial home?
Okay, before I chip in something in that direction, Salio, I want to add to what Apostle is talking about, the trend of cheating among the female folk. I think the trend, what is accountable for is the degree to which our moral values in our society today have degraded. Yes, it is a representation of how deep our society is sinking when it comes to the moral values that we had. I remember when we were still young, when I was younger than this, I'm still young. When I was younger than this, there was a practice where I come from, where if a woman is found to have cheated on her husband, there is a traditional practice they do. She has to, they boil something, some herbs, and then she's dropping some stuff and confesses until they think she has confessed to the last man she's ever slept with. Else there was going to be some kind of ill luck that has happened. Yeah, there was something they call it in my Italian chula. She has to do that. But the way the thing has become so vulgar and common now, I don't think that practice holds any longer. It doesn't hold any longer. So it is a representation of how the society is really sinking, which needs your collaboration and my collaboration. It needs your effort and mine. It needs your endeavor and mine for us to rebuild these broken walls. It is not funny at all. I'm not validating male promiscuity or cheating by the male folk. No, it's supposed to be either way. Men are not supposed to cheat on the women. Women are not supposed to cheat on the men within the framework of relationships. Now, going back to the question Mr. Leo has asked, there is an unfortunate scenario which we must talk about tonight, which has to do with the issue of preparing for marriage. I think that everybody, except for those who have a particular vocation or a particular drive, when somebody reaches a particular age, they start yearning to get married. Except those who maybe have taken some vows of celibacy, that they will remain celibate for life in order to serve God or something. Everybody reaches that age and is yearning to get married. But the question that we ask is, before you are now wanting to get married like that, what have you been doing about the marriage? Is it only because you have pointed breasts now? That is just one aspect of you being ready for marriage. Is it because you think your chin is now grown? That is just one of the things. Is it because you think you can sustain an erection? That is just one of the aspects. Is it because you even think you are financially viable? It is just one of the aspects. So one thing we must understand as young people who are listening to us, those who have young people that they can counsel, encourage them that while they are preparing or as they are growing and maturing in life, they must be preparing for marriage, because you don't prepare in marriage, you prepare for marriage, and this has to be done well ahead of time. You need a spiritual preparation, you need emotional preparation, you need psychological preparation, you need mental preparation, you also need financial and material preparation. All of these things put together are the package which call for each and every young person to start looking at where to place what in his or her life in order to prepare, so that tomorrow you don't enjoy marriage, you enjoy marriage. Many people today are focused on preparing for their wedding ceremonies. When the wedding is about maybe 2, 3, or 4, 5 months ahead, they're doing all of this. They go to the market, do the shopping, and do that. When they talk about premarital counseling, they are really averse to it. They claim they have watched films, they claim to have read books, they claim to have, followed all forms of seminars and all the like. They are important, they have their place. But when you are preparing, or as you are growing up into maturity, you must do the things you need to do. As a woman, for example, you need to learn the necessary cooking skills that you need to have as a woman, because you get married to somebody tomorrow and you begin to cook potty, the man, your husband, will become a street side eater. He will be eating every time outside. He comes and pretends that he is so tired and he doesn't have appetite and all the like, simply because the food you're preparing is not the best. So you must, as a woman, learn the necessary cooking skills, learn the necessary housekeeping skills. Your house should not be such that when somebody enters, it looks like they have entered a pigsty. And somebody should enter your house and see that there is a certain combination of the colors. Your blinds and your chairs will have a kind of color match. Somebody should see how things have been arranged, not that you enter the house and pots are welcoming you from the door, you look, a blanket is hanging the other way and stuff. So all of these things put together are the preparation. And then for the man too, they must be able to learn the responsibility that a man is supposed to have as a husband and as a father. You're supposed to learn it. Some of these things, the signs are always very clear. When you see your children growing and you see one that is going to be responsible tomorrow, or one that is really learning the arts of fatherhood and husbandhood, it is clear. You see the way they start, they are conscious of certain things. They are conscious of the well-being of everybody around them. Those are some of the things we have to build. The mental preparation is supposed to be such that you don't enter into marriage with the mindset that you are entering so that marriage can solve your problems. You don't enter into a marriage with the mindset that you are entering so that the person to whom you've gotten married to should be a solution to some of the challenges you've gone through in life. Marriage is not a problem solver in the sense of the word. Marriage is a platform in which two people collaborate. They bring their lives together so that they can help one another. If you enter into marriage as a victim, as somebody who needs to be helped throughout the relationship, you're going to have a lot of difficulties, too many of them. So you must make sure that while you are growing, how can I be a source, a channel of blessing to my husband or to my wife? How can I really be to that kind of person that my spouse is going to look at me and be happy? You cannot get married to somebody and then the person's life is rather moving from up to down. A person's life is supposed to rather be upwards because the person has gotten married to you. The biblical protocol is for the man, he who finds a wife finds a good thing and obtains favor from the Lord. So favor is not something that diminishes, it increases. People should get married and be able to see that yesterday this is where I was and today this is where I am. You should not get married and peace is no longer there. Your dream that you were pursuing when you were still single is no longer there because you've gotten married to somebody who tells you, in fact, don't shake from here, or don't do this, don't look for a job. They got married to you and then they have made you a professional housewife. These are things that cause people to start feeling as if marriage is a prison, like Apostle Essingue said from the beginning, that marriage, if some people get married and feel that marriage is a prison, of which it's not supposed to be so. Marriage is rather supposed to be a platform where people express their gifts, their talents, their purpose. People express and feel better than they were when they were single. The Bible says that one shall chase 1,000 and two shall chase tens of thousands. So this is a clear demonstration of how people should be able to get married, and then the little strength or the little they were doing when they were still single multiplies exponentially when they have gotten married. So as far as the preparation is concerned, you should be able to look at the rules, the responsibilities that a husband has as a boy. Look at them and begin to build yourself intentionally. There is the principle of intentionality. If it is not there, you're going to mess up very big time. You're going to mess up.
Let me take some messages. Good evening, Mr. Kum and distinguished men of God in the building. We must have a change of mindset when we get married, because in singlehood, it's all about me, but in the married state, it is about us. And consideration is given to the other party. In marriage, we must drop certain habits and pick up new ones to create a conducive atmosphere in the marital home. Terence is writing from Gaundal. Good evening to all in the house. Please, I wish to ask if it is okay for a man to prefer to spend time outside if you the wife wants to complain. He says you want to control him. That is a topic that we will need to address. Mr. Leo, good evening. Please, I am 52, but Mr. Leo, in 2007, I met my wife with unidentified person in my home, making love. After having 2 kids with her, she left to her mother's home in Bonaberry. Mr. Leo, my first daughter is now in 3rd year in the university. If you are in my place, will you forgive this kind of a woman after bringing up the 2 kids, adults? Okay, I'm sure Apostle is going to respond to that, or Reverend may do that. Good evening. This is Taya from Far North region. Being single is different from the marriage reality, so people are supposed to get prepared, most especially mentally. Good evening, Mr. Kum. Your talking points are wonderful and your panelists are all carefully chosen. Please keep up the good work in educating the public. Thank you. Most people come into marriage with the hope that their partner is going to change after marriage and in the course of the marriage, but when these changes are not forthcoming, the marriage becomes frustrating and the singlehood characters continue. Couples preparing to get married must be able to bring out the things they like and don't like in their partners during their courtship and work on them for change before getting married. If they dislike characters in singlehood are not worked on for a change courtship before marriage, these characters will be carried into the marriage. Most couples prepare for the wedding more than they prepare for the marriage, which life engagement. Emmanuel is writing from a Bolova. Good evening to you all. Reverend is going to come back to this, but I will take this message that has just been sent to me from Bamenda. I'll read it out for our audience here. This is, I think this is an example we all should emulate. This person is celebrating the birthday of the wife and tells me to read this out to the wife today. Today's birthday of Mrs. Ikane Solange Ipote Amate. So the husband says, can we have her picture on the screen? Okay, yes, that is Miss Ikane Solange Ipote Amate. So the husband writes, good evening, Mr. Kum Leonard. I am by this note wishing happy Ruby Jubilee to my dear wife, Miss Ikane Solange Ipote Amate. I'm thanking God for all his blessings, protection, and success in her 40 years in this world. From the husband, Mr. Adolphe Ikane in Bamenda. So we, the panelists on this edition of Prime Hour, join your husband, Mr. Adolphe Ikane in Bamenda, to wish you, Mrs. Ikane Solange Ipote Amate, a glorious, blessed Ruby Jubilee celebration. We hope that the champagne is ongoing out there in Bamenda, Northwest Regional Capital, and that one day we're going to join you to celebrate more beautiful. Yes, thank you very much. And I don't know, you followed the message I wrote that many persons, when you're going out with a guy or a lady, at the time of courtship, we fail to define and see what is possibly going to be carried into our marriage life. That is the defining moment. Once we fail at the level of courtship, we fail in everything. Because this ties with the question I actually had for you, to ask whether marriage makes somebody more mature, more responsible. Does it really change somebody? Because if you're a drunkard or you're a womanizer, you live a careless life, hoping that the day you sign, something automatically, miraculously happens to you.
Exactly. I suspect this question from Ebolova is coming from Daddy Emmanuel Mbipefa.
Okay.
I remember when I was in Ebolova in September, he told me he always follows Prime Hour. Daddy, okay. Good evening to you and to the entire family.
Okay.
Yeah, what he raised there, he raised some very pertinent points, some amazing issues that, as I said in my previous submission, many people ignore when you bring these things to bear, when you bring counsel along this line. There are many people who don't want to take this as a counsel that's being given in good faith. During the period of courtship, that period where people are still planning to get married, there are many things that have to be put in place. There are many things that have to be agreed upon. I remember I said last week that before marriage, there are some things that appear very innocent. They appear as if they are very harmless. But it is only in the course of marriage that you start to see the way they are. In fact, they blow out. You must agree. In fact, when necessary or where applicable, some of the things people agree and write them down. Issues that you are not, in fact, that you people are not so much in consensus with, you agree and write them down. Because tomorrow, the least pressure that comes on your relationship, the good faith that appeared to have been there from the onset will no longer be there. At the level of courtship, you must agree on how many children do we want to have, what are your goals and your visions in life, which church are we going to attend when we get married, where are we going to settle. Yes, some of these agreements may not be hard and fast, but at least agree on them, discuss on them, so that tomorrow, if something is coming up that is to the contrary, it should now be another it should be the revised version of the agreement you had, and not something looking like somebody is trying to force down the throat of another one. These are the kind of things we've experienced in many of the marriages. So when people cannot agree on certain things, it goes offhand even in the course of the marriage. But if they agreed on some of the key aspects of their relationship before marriage, it is going to help them to act as a guide even when they are faced with some of this confusion and these ambiguities.
Okay. I'll take some worries expressed by televiewers so that we can provide clarifications on them. Good evening. You guys should just take note. Good evening, people of God. I am Nadine, writing from Bafousan. Please, at what age can a woman get married? This other one says, lack of marriage counseling is what is destroying many marriages now. The best couples are those who can merge their characters to build a good family. Many young girls now marry wealth, not love, without understanding that in marriage there are challenges that will emerge. Ashu Mason, educationist and political scientist, writing from Bomenda. Roger says, please, can someone find true love after marriage? I don't know. True love with your wife or true love away from your wife after marriage? This one says, good evening, Mr. Liu. I'm very happy with your today's program, especially with the people on the panel. In fact, the rate at which some married women rush, the rate at which some married women rush single boys today is really confusing me to think if the man they have as husbands are not performance or what, because some have the money but still rush single boys, not even men. Comfort Eric, writing from Boya. Good evening, Mr. Leo and the team in the studio. My humble advice to all the singles is to prepare before marriage. Failing to prepare before marriage is preparing to repair after marriage. So Jasmine, writing from Boya. Most of the times people don't really understand the definition of marriage, because to me, marriage is a union between two imperfect couples to become at least perfect, okay? There's somebody who's writing, good evening, Mr. Leo. I wish to ask that when a man gets married to a lady, is it they want to follow the wife or the wife to follow him as far as church is concerned? Danny Michael is writing from Jinico. Who follows who? The church.
This thing is just very common today. It's obvious that a man will leave his father and mother and cleave to the wife, and they two shall become one. This decision is a matter of both of them, but it is always advisable that the woman follows the man to his church. That is how it is. But when they are doing their wedding, they should do their wedding in the church of the woman. You wed her in her church, and then you officially take her away from the church with the agreement of the church and the pastors even before the time of marriage. So it is always advisable that before you get married, agree with the church of your wife. Make them to understand that after you get married, both of you are going to your church. It's normal. And if they agree with you, fine. If they don't agree with you, then know that you have to still consider whether you're on the right footing or whether you would like to still marry a woman who goes to another church. Because it's usually a challenge when when couples separate churches because the children at one point in time they'll be confused. They want to follow the father to this church, or sometimes the mother to that church, and so many things to the other. But if you can manage it, like some people do manage it, I've seen people who are Baptists, sometimes the husbands are maybe Catholic or that they have no problem with it. They go on and they worship and whatever. When there's a special program in this church, all of them go there. When there's a special program in that church, all of them go there. But I'm advising you, before you marry, don't only talk with your wife or don't only talk with your husband. Talk with the authorities that be and their pastors. Make them to understand, after you both married, I'm taking my wife to our church. They will agree with you, obviously, because they know that is the right thing. So, but some women are too glued to their church and to their pastor that they will not want to leave that particular church, especially if they are coming to your own church where they know that your doctrines don't tie with her own. It becomes so difficult. It becomes so difficult because I just want to say that it's rather pathetic that a lot of people want to marry people that they don't have the same ties with. They don't have the same, they're not complementary, they cannot complement themselves. You know, you just marry somebody because, you know, I like you, I want to marry you, but in a different church on a different doctrines, they just go. Like if you want to marry somebody maybe from a Deeper Life church or from a Baptist church, you must understand their doctrines, understand their style of life, understand how, and begin to ask yourself whether I would accept to operate like that. And if you want to remove that person from that church, you know that you have to, you know, take her through another kind of training for her to come out from that system, because she will come to your church and see problems every day. She will insult your pastor, she will insult your deaconess, she will insult the way people dress in your church, she will insult the anointing water, she will insult the anointing oil, she will insult everything, and you will be angry with her, not knowing that that was not her culture, that's not how she was raised, and that's not how she was brought up. So it's very simple. It's very simple. A lot of people enter into things before they think. How do you enter into marriage before you say you want to find love? Just like how this particular guy was asking, that can a man find love after you get married? You enter into marriage, and that is when you want to look for love. Do you look for love before you marry, or you look for love after you get married?
Error.
Yes.
They made error now.
It's a very big problem. It's a very big problem. And people repeat these things again and again. I don't want to marry you because I like the girl, the way they behave. You know, I like he get fine fashion. You know, some things, the girl may have a fine fashion, but you are not in love with the girl. Love is a spirit, and love, if love catches somebody, you will know that this is love. Love does not hide itself. Love is so strong in such a way that people they prefer to jump fence to be able to get to people they love. If you know that their love has not got you to an extent, don't marry. Then before you say you want to now see love somewhere, and then you want to start jumping fence after you're married to be able to.
Okay, good evening, Mr. Liu. Please, a guy has 2 kids with a lady, but not married to her. Then later on, meets another lady that he loves more than the mother of his kids. And perhaps the new lady is so productive and supportive to him to better his life, and is willing to take care of the kids. What can this guy do? Denzi is writing from the United Arab Emirates.
It sounds like he is writing his story for fun though. But we always encourage people that, especially women, know where you stand, know where you are, what you are really doing, what you are pursuing when you start delivering children with somebody who is not married to you. Getting children or having children with somebody is not synonymous to marriage. So rather than saying that you will get married to somebody that 2 of you will not end up being happy, both of you for life, pursue, marry the person you love. You people should come to an agreement. It will be painful. One of the parties, especially the woman, she will surely be hurt. But it is better to be hurt for a few months rather than live in forever hurt. So it is better they discuss, they dialogue over the issue, and then separate amicably. It will be difficult to do, but it's something that has to be done. They separate amicably. Let this guy marry the one for whom his heart is beating and the one he thinks he can live with as wife. That they have children is not an automatic factor that must command marriage.
Okay, let's take another listen to Mrs. Asanji Yvette coming through from Bamenda, Northwest Regional Capital.
Mr. Leo, like I was saying, when you look at the lifestyle that singles are living, you begin to wonder a lot. Everything now is so centered on money. Money, ladies, in fact, if you don't have money today, you cannot talk about love to a lady. Everything a lady wants now is money. I've been struggling to discourage that mindset. I've been struggling to discourage that aspect of that. Ladies should, choose men who are rich. Unfortunately, our ladies are so consumed, and it is because of I don't know if I should call it peer pressure, or I should call it they're trying to meet up with the standards. Hey, this person is having iPhone 14 Pro Max, so why not me? So they're trying to get to the level where even their parents have never dreamt of. Now, aspiring to be big is not a bad thing, but solely depending on others financially because you want to have this kind of a cell phone, you want to dress this kind of a way, you want to drive in this kind of a car, and it is not because you want to work hard for it. You want to depend on people that will give you that money. A true lady will not want to get married to a man that has money. I think a real lady will first of all want to work her own money. When you work your own money, you will be very focused on who to marry. You will not marry because of money. Money does not guarantee happiness. Money does not guarantee a successful marriage. I've counseled ladies that have got married because of money. They're living in mansions with mates, but yet they are never happy. And while they are there now, they start looking for happiness. Let us be conscious of what we are, who we are as singles, or who you are as a single, and who you will be later on, because you are just a product of yourself. In fact, your today is based on the decisions you took yesterday. So there is no way you can live anyhow today and claim that your tomorrow will not have anything to do with today. Your marriage has a lot to do with who you are today. Are you a hardworking person? That is who you will be when you get married. Are you a pushful person? Someone that has vision, focus, and pursuing your goals? Even when you get married, that's the kind of person you will be. Let's stop fooling ourselves. Some ladies fold their arms and sit, waiting for marriage to come. You can tell how those kind of ladies, how materialistic they can be because they want to solely depend on the man. Unfortunately, the world has changed. Most ladies today don't do that again. We work our own money. So that even when we are choosing our choices, we are sure that we are choosing for the right reasons. We are not, it's not being influenced by money. So whatever you are today, in fact, your today is your tomorrow. Your today is a product of your yesterday. So if you want to be a good spouse tomorrow, you need to start working on yourself today. What is it about you that you see that if you get married, it might be a problem? You might have anger issues. You don't need to get married before you start working on it. Because if you leave that anger in you and get married with it, it will manifest triple. I say triple because marriage is the headquarters of all offenses. Your spouse will offend you to the level where that anger will manifest and come out. It will come out in bulks. So, working on yourself, as a single, this is the time when you need to be so conscious of everything you're doing. Don't just live anyhow. Don't just live like life you came to earth to come and escort others. Have a purposeful life. Live in fact, be intentional. Who are you today? What kind of person do you want to be in the future? If you want to be a faithful person today, if you want to be a faithful spouse tomorrow, when you're married, it starts now as a single. Who you are now is what you will be. So if you want to be a faithful spouse, you need to start cultivating that spirit of faithfulness now. You first of all need to decide that I want to be a faithful spouse in the future. So I want to start working on myself to be a faithful person even right now. And faithfulness here does not necessarily just mean you are faithful in a relationship. You can be faithful. If you want to test your faithfulness, check even your business deals with people. Are you faithful when you're interacting with others? if you cannot keep your side of the deal when you get into negotiations with others, you have faithfulness as a problem generally. I mean, I'm giving you an easy way to know if you can be faithful or not. How faithful are you when you get into business deals or when you get into negotiations with somebody? Do you keep your part of the deal? If you don't keep it, that is who you are. You will get married and still not stay there. So start cultivating whatever you want to see when you get married. If it's that faithfulness, cultivate it.
Faithfulness, you need to cultivate it. Now, if in the case of a situation where almost every lady is gunning for a rich guy, yes, how does this work in favor of their marriage tomorrow? Is it possible for such women to change?
Mindset.
Going through what she's saying, that yes, she's struggling to counsel so many persons out of this mindset of always wanting this guy who is rich, this guy who is rich. Now, if that is how you live through your singlehood, would something change when you get married?
Yes, this thing of mindset is a very big challenge. What kind of mindset do you have about marriage and relationship? If you build your relationship based on money, two things will happen. You either get frustrated or they either use you as a pet. They can buy you at any time. Because you have your value for human life is not really serious. You can't equate money with human life, emotions, and psychology. You cannot. So it's better you get to understand the psychology of people, the emotions of people, and the way people operate in life. You should be able to learn that, so that you understand that money is not everything. Now you take that money today, and tomorrow when the money is not there, you begin to fumble, just like what we see a lot of people do. We also understand that it's not only women that are going for rich guys. We also understand today that poor and lazy guys are going for women who already have a standing and a life. You hardly see a rich guy going for a rich girl. It's difficult. So these guys who are not ready to work, they're not ready to develop themselves, they go and look for a rich girl and marry. And the next thing that happens is they begin to intimidate them and begin to tell the woman how they are the man, fighting for property and everything. You cannot meet up with their emotional demands, their psychological demands, their spiritual demands, and otherwise you cannot meet up with them. So these things are called greed and selfishness. Greed and selfishness is what is controlling our attitude towards choosing people. How would also an old man begin to go for a younger girl? You know very well that you cannot match up with her feelings or whatever. All these things will produce a kind of chain reaction that will cause a lot of problems in homes. Now, that woman that you labored with so much and you suffered with so much does not mean anything to you now. You are looking for a younger, fresh girl. And the girl also comes to you having this one thing in the mind: money, money, money. Because when we want to say that a girl wants money or a rich guy, they have what they also see from those rich guys, their interests. These rich guys like foolish girls. They like girls, they can use them like rags and any kind of a thing. They can pay you and then turn you, and some of them even use their dogs on these girls only because of money. Some of them use funny things. Some of them will even bring you to the house and have no sex with you, but they have used their ritual powers on you. And that's how a lot of people are suffering today. Church girls, just like girls who don't even go to church, are the same. Most of them are operating like that. They are looking for a guy that has something, maybe money or whatever. Yes, so we say that you should marry a poor man. No, we are saying that marry someone that both of you has purpose, vision, and a drive, a feeling for each other. You don't just get up because you think that this one has money. What if tomorrow they don't have money? A man may have money today, and tomorrow the man is bankrupt.
Yeah.
The man's company goes down, or they are sacked from their jobs. What happens? What happened to that marriage? What happened to that home? What happened to that relationship? Well, we're seeing that every day. What about those people you marry and maybe you thought because they were very handsome or very beautiful, and then they have an accident on the way and they no longer have that beauty or that thing? Or they are cooking in the house and then fire disaster, oil burn their faces and everything. Can you sustain that? Can you sustain that? Learn to love souls. Learn to love the internal part of human beings. Don't love what you see, because what you see depreciates. What you see evaporates. What you see will disappear someday. The young girl you see today will suddenly become a mother after they give birth to children. And some women don't know how to take care of themselves even after they put birth. They will look funny. They won't have that shape they used to have. Some women will depreciate so fast, and you will look at it, you won't like it. The standing breast you see today is not going to stand like that forever. The hips you see today is not going to be like that forever. You know, the beauty, the handsome guy you see today is not going to be like that forever. So begin to put that at the back of your mind and learn to love the souls of people. Learn to love their worth. Learn to love their character. Learn to love their tenacity. Learn to love their abilities. Learn to love their way of interaction, their social life. That's what you should be going for. Value the qualities that people carry rather than value what you see. I like a broad chest. I like black and tall and whatever. I like a short girl. I like this size. We have seen that in the past and we still see them every day. These particular qualities depreciate because human beings are like grass that withers. Before you know it, today you see them fresh and tomorrow they are no more. We are seeing it today. We are seeing it. We see, okay, we were talking about this girl who got married to this footballer, and then they divorced, and the girl was asking 50% of the wealth of the guy, only to realize that the guy did not even have anything in his name. So what happens with those that have put their minds on money and hoping that someday they are going to get billions, and maybe they have even gone and mortgaged a lot of things, hoping that someday they will play a deal and get money out of that person, and only to realize that that person has already been smarter than you. Is a smarter person than you. Men are very smart. As you calculate them, that's how they are calculating you. They know why you came to them. They know you came because of money. They know you came because of that. When you get up and you begin to follow those old paths and those people that are following, they don't know that you came because of money. They don't know that. That's what they buy you. They can buy you. You want to vex her, Bobby, baby, no vex. Take 10,000, take 15,000, take 100,000, and buy you a phone. I buy you with this. You become a pet. You become a cheap person. They can toast you anyhow. They can turn you anyhow because of what you want to get. Those girls who run and go to scammers. Do you think that these scammers think that you love them? Scammers know you don't love them. Scammers know you are there because of their money. So they are also there to use you and finish you like sharp. And at the end of the day, you have no use with your life. So never get up and begin to look at what people.
Yeah, so there are some worries. So many worries are raised by those watching us. Yes. But you want to throw light on some of them?
Yes, Mr. Liu, I want to throw light on or to just give a word of counsel to at least two of the viewers. The first is the man who said he was 52 years old and was married and caught the wife in the very act in 2007, and the wife finally left. I don't know, I didn't get it whether the wife left after the thing happened and they had the children before the thing happened, but that neither here nor there. What I want to suggest, sir, is that you should listen to your heart. 1, 2, look at your wife and see whether she is demonstrating fruit of repentance. If you still look deep within you and you feel there is this strong love that you still have for her, you should forgive her and go back and accept her for a process of reconciliation. And then 2, if you see that this woman is really demonstrating remorse over what she did, the cheating she did, it is also a good thing that you overlook the fault that she committed and then you reconcile with her and you people can at least come back together. The aspect of saying that maybe you feel hurt because you brought up the children all alone, well, I think it's an investment you made, and there is a bond you've built with the children, and they will never forget their father who suffered that much with them in a hurry. So it is It is what happened. In fact, even whatever the matter, nothing will change the fact that she is their mother. She's their mother, and you can overlook what happened and reconcile. But the recommendation I'm giving is that two things have to be in place for this to happen. At least two things. One, the fact that you still have the strong feeling and love for her. Two, the fact that you identify genuine repentance. When I insist on genuine repentance, is because this woman can come back to your life and history repeats itself again. She cheats again with another person, and you find that you spend your life from one hurt to another because of a woman who has committed an error and does not see herself. The second intervention I want to make is of a viewer in Bamenda, I think. She asks whether it is right for a man to marry a woman and then keep late nights. When the man comes back home and she wants to ask where she's coming from, the man says she is controlling him. This has to do with a two-way traffic too. One, are you sure that the man enjoys your company and the atmosphere at home? If this is something that is still subject to further analysis, then you should work very hard towards the bliss of your home. Make sure that when the man comes back, he finds a home where he is at peace, he finds a home where there is joy, he finds a home where he has somebody that they can discuss with, they can share burdens, they can laugh together. If it is such that the man comes back and meets a nagging wife, he comes back and meets a wife that is shabby, he comes back and meets a wife that is not ready to accommodate him and give him a good atmosphere, he will prefer to hang out with the intention that when he comes back, you should have slept, you and the children would have slept, so that he just sleeps also and then gets up in the morning prepared to go to go out for work. That is not also a license to the man who is doing such a thing. If there are challenges in the home that are provoking one of you, either the man or the woman, to stay away from the home, two of you should dialogue and bring things back to the rails. Why were you people getting married? How can you get married to somebody and then you people decide to be rather drifting away? Marriage works when people work on the marriages. If you don't work, your marriage will not work by accident. Two of you can dialogue, discuss, and say, okay, each time I come back home, I see everywhere is scattered. So I don't just want to come and be seeing it. So you people should learn how to put order in this house. And then you see how you can also assist for this thing to be put in place. It can also be that you, the woman, he has been complaining that each time before you see him coming, in fact, you already have a complaint or the other. You have one challenge to do, that he will look at a woman that is married as a nagging wife. So that will make him to be scared away from the home. So this is something that two of you should see how to work on. Initiate a dialogue. Discuss with your husband. Is there anything he expects from you so that he can be more present in the home? If there is, you try at your own end to work towards it. I know bringing such is because you are mindful of your marriage. You want to have a great marriage, but the husband with whom you have to build this marriage is absent. So you will be ready to make some sacrifices in order to bring things.
Even Mr. Kum, I wish to ask if it's advisable for a man to turn down his wife to be if the pastor or religious leader did not agree with the man to carry the woman to his church after marriage. And Fidel is writing for Yaoundé.
No, it's not proper. You say you want to turn down your woman because a religious person does. So what does you and your wife think? The first decision is you and your wife. A woman who wants to marry you and cannot take that kind of a decision for you, you have to be careful. You have to be careful.
So it should not be it's not the pastor
it's
that
not
decides.
the pastor that is supposed to be blamed. It's the woman you want to marry. She should be able to take such decisions.
Good evening, sir. Very interesting program, sir. If a man cheats and his wife discovers and when also and cheats, then what should you, the man, do? Eric, okay? The wife also went and cheated and discovered. What should you do?
Yeah. That is the common thing that happens today out there. A lot of people want to give back what they have given to them. What if you go and cheat and then you carry HIV and AIDS or some kind of diseases that is going to destroy your life and your home? That's what you don't think about. So
let me just add something to that. Most often, some people do that because of the attitude of the man. Yes, there are some people who cheat, and then they still have the effrontery to be talking hard
Yes.
Am I the first person who has done this? Have you not seen other people who are even cheating with it? If you talk again, I'm going to bring a woman to this house. And so when you do that, you now provoke the person. The person will be looking at her as if he or she is being taken for granted and will want to also go and
then you go and
retaliate.
cheat.
Now, but if you go and cheat, no, I'm not justifying. I'm just trying to say that when you have done it, if you are a man or a woman, if you've done it, just try to show remorse and pamper your wife or your husband and say, in fact, and do the best you can so that it doesn't repeat itself.
Okay. Good evening, great people in the studio. I'm Sean Promise from Yaoundé. I have heard people say, if you want your marriage to be a successful one, marry someone that loves you more than you love him or her. To what extent is this true? Good evening, Mr. Leo and the crew. I love your programs, and this one in particular. Please, I wish to ask, how can a lady who gave birth with a man later on get married to another man, lives a smooth and happy life in her home without her husband suspecting her of cheating, as he keeps on calling someone in her life the father of my child, because she cannot still forget her child she left behind before marriage? I'm Elvis School, writing from Officer. I don't know whether you got
Yeah,
the
I
sense.
got the, yes.
Yeah,
that is a very recurrent issue which has caused a lot of tension in many relationships. The advice in this particular aspect is that, take for instance, because there will be at least one or two scenarios that, or three, the child will be with the person. That is, a woman had a child before marriage, gets married to another man, and then they bring the child in to live with the child. Another scenario will be that the child is with the man. The father of the child is with the man, and then she is married and she's in a different marriage.
And
Another scenario will be where
she goes there to see the child.
that will be a possibility. Then another scenario will be when the child is in a neutral ground, maybe with the parents of the boy or the parents of the girl, and then she is married to another man. The man maybe is still single, is married to another man. So in this case, if the child is with you people, or in fact whatever transaction, make sure your spouse is fully implicated in it. If your spouse is not involved in whatever communication and the dealings that you people have, everybody will stand to have that kind of suspicion. The reason being that you think this is somebody that my wife or my husband was in love with before. So if they are communicating, if you love your spouse, indeed there must be some level of jealousy that's going to be provoked in the course of all of this.
Hello, Mr. Leo. Good evening to you and the servants of God in your panel. Interdenominational marriage is good when the two agree from the beginning in their worship arena. I'm a pastor in a Pentecostal milieu. My darling spouse is a Catholic, but maturity, love, submission, and understanding, plus the hand of God has been working for us. We wedded in the Catholic Church. I treat his priest with honor, as I do towards my daddy in the Lord. He visits my church, encourages me in ministerial work, and I too do encourage him in his service in church. For those who are mature spiritually and morally, interchurch marriage can be encouraged. Okay, Eunice writing there. Good evening, Mr. Leo, all the panelists. Ambro Tayon Lucien writing from Boya. Should you marry who loves you, or you marry who you love? Many women today like to dominate their husbands, so they will marry who loves them and not who truly love, knowing fully well that they don't love the man. So they use that opportunity because he loves her, and do whatever thing they like because they know the love their husbands have for them will cover all their bad behaviors. Good evening, Mr. Leo and the crew. I love your program, and this one in particular. Okay. Good evening, Mr. Leo. I'm Victorine from Boya. Before I got married, he had 2 children. And he said they were to stay with the mother. But after our marriage, he said they must stay with us. And this man said he does not want to have any child with me. And this man is on the land I bought with my money.
You see, a lot of people are making very big mistakes. You don't play with people's emotions and people's intelligence and you think you go through with it. That is the pain that we see today. You just get up and manipulate people, and you think that when you enter into marriage, marriage is a safe zone, that anything can go, anything can work. No, it doesn't work like that. I am telling you the truth. Pastors are suffering. church people are suffering. I'm telling you, a lot of people are suffering because they thought that when they enter into marriage, they can use religion to baptize the whole thing and nothing will happen. But they see that sometimes when you push a goat to the wall, the goat develops teeth to bite. Yes, that is how it works.
Okay, so this guy manipulated the lady. The lady was manipulated by the guy.
Yes.
There was an agreement before marriage.
Yes.
And then now she's frustrated because you say you don't even want a child.
And sometimes these girls are desperate. They're desperate, so you just go for a guy because you know this guy doesn't love you.
Okay.
Because these guys usually show it.
Okay, elector writing from Ewane says today is reserved is the case. Men are the ones looking for rich women. Nowadays, marriage is like a business. Today, in the day of I want a supportive wife. Okay, I hail you guys according to the theme.
Especially young pastors, they like rich girls.
According to the theme, I think the character you have as a single might determine to an extent how good or bad your marriage life can be. But the couple should learn how to relate every day with the spouse and mostly humble themselves to forgive each other and not include a third party in their couple. Good evening, Mr. Liu. It is thanks to the channel I'm happily married. Ambo Shella Nge Chop. A prayer is the key for a successful marriage. My advice to single ladies, if they are in a relationship where she's loving the man more than the love of the man, know that the marriage wouldn't work. Most singles are looking for ready-made men rather than growing with a man. Lastly, most singles are not humble, and let them pray for God to teach them on how to work on their characters. Singles should not go to stay in a man's house. Singles should have these 4 qualities, such as loving hearts towards everyone despite their class, be born again, and be humble. You are in everything you do. With these characteristics, you will have a successful marriage. Okay, Mr. Liu, good evening. There was a man in a Bolova. He was a Yahoo boy. He had a girl. Anytime the girl comes to his house, he asks the girl to remove her part and give him to throw. Meanwhile, he uses it for money rituals, and he feeds himself with the girl's feces and urine. Okay. Good evening, Mr. Liu and all the men of God in the platform. I have a serious problem advising this friend who got married to the fiancé he made 10 years with, and after 3 years of marriage found another woman he got into a relationship with because she was exactly what he wanted in a wife. She is industrious and pushes him and supports him in every way a wife should compare to his wife. He has tried marrying the second woman, but he can't because he is originally married to as monogamy, and his wife will not allow him marry a second wife. So he spends his time out of his house and with the second girl. How can we help such a situation? Good evening to you all in the studio. Emeline writing from Marwa. Please, I have been married for 7 years, and the man I got married to was a first man in my life, and after 2 years with 1 child, he didn't want to make love to me, but I'm the one begging him, and I'm about to give him the 3rd child, but still having hope that one day he will change. Please, I need advice. Greetings, Glory from Yaoundé. I'm not legally married, but we live together with 4 kids. After 15 years together now, I learned he legalized his union with his rich lady about 58 years. What should I do? So many problems out there.
Yes. These problems that you see are common problems in society. When we say common, it means that it's not something that is not far-fetched. We see it every other day. We see people suffering from these things every other day. You know very well this man doesn't love you, and you force yourself to enter into marriage with that person. Some women want to use pregnancy to hold a man. Some women want to use sex to hold a man. It doesn't work like that. Why will you see danger and you go inside hoping that things will get better? In most cases, these things will never get better. They will only get worse. Please, someone will be in a relationship for 10 years. Now, wait till they used to worry people in our village on our way to happen with people. Yes, because you in a relationship for 10 years and then you finally got married to the person, and then in 3 years in marriage, you now see another lady. There is something wrong. And the thing wrong is that you're greedy. And then maybe you're wicked. Let me add it that way. It's just wicked. You get up and you be with the girl, you spend the better part of her life. Because before you say that you're with a girl for 10 years, it means you'll spend the better part of her life. Then you get up overnight that you're seeing another girl, and then you want to just make this girl to feel frustrated or funny. It's a terrible thing. And people think that you can play with people's emotions and go free with it. Nature itself knows how to fight people. Nature knows how to fight people. Nature knows. Again, you deprive a woman of sex, especially when you know very well how you have been satisfying her, how you made her feel good, how you made her feel fine. And all of a sudden, you decide to deprive her because you are now having it somewhere else. Most people who find themselves in such situations are those men who have found another girl, they feel that they can get better sex there, and they concentrate on that place. And then you come back, you cannot satisfy this other person in the house, and you're making that woman to suffer and to pain. Her cry will go up to which place about those spirits who care, and they will fight you. That's why some men never get rich. Some men get frustrated because of the way they treat genuine love. Genuine love, if hurt, it can attract curses. It can attract so many other things. So be careful. People have lost their jobs because they hurt women. People have lost their lives because they hurt women or they hurt men. Yes, because there are also girls who hurt men. Because you have seen another man outside, you feel that you should deprive that man from sex. You should deprive that man from what he deserves. He has paid a dowry on your head, and you think you can deprive him. That's the biggest problem that ladies make, and that's the biggest problem that men make. You keep a woman for 6 months. You keep a woman for 3 months. You keep a woman even for 2 months. You know, it's a pain. And her cry goes up to God. And her cry goes up to God. And some of the things that happen to some of these girls outside is because you went in and touched a praying woman. Never touch a praying woman's husband. You will not like what you see. Never touch a woman who is diabolic. Why would these girls be so desperate to the point where you come to a place, a man asks you to give the part? Now, man begin to go through a part for you. No, you should tell me. You are just greedy. You want money. And then the man is giving you the money so you can do everything in the name of what? Money. Because it's not love. It's not love. So you decide to donate your life for shrines. You donate your soul. I am talking like this. A lot of women and dogs are sleeping with women now.
Okay. Mr. Leo, please, if you have a problem with your man, will you go to your husband's family or your family? My husband doesn't give me listening ear. Whenever I want to discuss with him, it always ends up in a quarrel. Okay. I think you could need to see a counselor.
Yeah.
Yes.
They need to see a counselor, Mr. Leo, and some of these things, when you hear some of the treatment that some women go through in these relationships, is very heart-wrenching. But then I want to say it's unfortunate that many of these things they are a result of the deaf ear they give to the counsel that we have been giving on this platform, yes, and the counsel that is given elsewhere. You can't be a lady and you are desperate to the point where you are grown-up that they have to test you before they buy you, if you want to look at marriage that way. You know, the way you sell yourself cheap to a man, the man is going to buy you for less than that value even. There's a premium you have to also place upon yourself. A man cannot just give you, in fact, you give until you've given the first baby, it's not enough. You've given the second, it's not, the third is not enough. The next moment now the man starts behaving, and you too, you are looking at the man as being wicked. It means that there was a platform where wickedness met with mumulism. So it got to this point where we are. Everybody is supposed to at least be able to place a premium on themselves too. You cannot be just living as if there is no, as if your family has no place for you. It's like you are running away from your family to go and live with a man. It is really uncalled for. Now, talking about the aspect of preparing in order to settle in marriage, Many of these people out here, many boys and girls as well, what they are really looking at out here is that their expectations are not always cultured by the right mindset. They have expectations that are too wild, too wild. You see, somebody will, in fact, you are not ambitious, but the kind of man you want to marry is an ambitious man. You are coming from a family that in fact, life has been a struggle, and you set the bar too high. You've refused a relationship, a proposal from one. You've refused a man also to look at his own level and go and ask. You are only looking for. In fact, you set the bar too high. It is a wrong approach to marriage. There are people that if you approach them, they will look at you as a gold digger, and then they will treat you as such. The next thing also I want to say is that people should learn to culture their appetite. There are some appetites that you can build now, and marriage does not afford you that same luxury tomorrow. You will be in deep shit. Some people grow in families where the father, in fact, they lavish them with money. They grow from backgrounds where, from a very young age, a tender age, they already got used to a lot of sex and all the other things, and they finally get into a relationship where those appetites cannot be satisfied.
It cannot, in most cases.
So if they cannot be satisfied, it means that you have built around an atmosphere around yourself which has ended up being fighting against you.
You find them going out.
Yes, you end up with somebody is going out. So people should learn, whatever the situation. In fact, even if nature or if life has granted you a lot of facilities, there are sometimes that you can keep those facilities aside and face life in its raw form in preparation for tomorrow. You will not remain in your father's house. Your father will not keep giving you the money he is giving you today. You will not keep having the house helps that people have in your house today. When you get married tomorrow, your husband may his level may not be such that you people will be able to afford for even just one house help.
Okay.
You will even have a scenario where you grew in a skyscraper, and tomorrow the man you marry to, his level at a particular time will be.
We are running out of time. Briefly, when a man always comes home late, and the wife says, "Where are you coming from?" and it is considered control, how do we fix that?
This is
should a woman not even ask where you're coming from?
When you see that, it means that there's a problem from somewhere. The problem does not start that day.
Okay, any day you just come to say, "Welcome back, honey."
No, not necessarily. You should be able to find out where things have gone loose. Because if you're the kind of woman that does not make him comfortable at home, don't ask him where he's coming from. Surely he went out to get himself satisfied, maybe with friends or maybe with another woman.
What in the case where the woman is very submissive and also satisfied?
No, in that kind of a case, some things have gone out of hand.
No, some men just have character issues.
That's what I'm saying. Because you saw the man, because it did not happen overnight.
Red flags showed themselves
before
marriage.
He showed you before marriage, and you still close your eyes. You say, "No, man, don't marry him." Maybe things will change. I think make and so I lost my massa, no married.
Okay.
That's what makes many women suffer.
Okay, let's take the last intervention from Bamenda, from Mr. Asanji Yvette.
Okay. Finally, Mr. Leo, I want to say that singles, as a single, this is the best time you can prepare yourself for marriage. Apostle Ambe have always said it. There are many people that are ready for marriage, but they are not prepared for marriage. You might be working money and you think you're ready. Yeah, you're ready for marriage, but are you prepared? You might have graduated from the university. Yeah, it's time to get married. You are ready for marriage, but are you prepared? So you need to identify things that makes you ready and what makes you prepared. Singlehood is that time when you prepare yourself for marriage. It is not a time to be moving up and down, clubbing. I always say it, if you see a lady or you see a guy that is still so excited about life, they are not ready for marriage. Marriage comes with a lot of responsibilities. See, you need a calm head for you to succeed in marriage. You cannot be, there's birthday party that way, you are there. There is party that way, you are there. There is this thing this way. If you want to get married with that kind of excitement, no, you are not ready. That's why I said, if you want to get married, you drink 2 bottles of beer. Another person, the woman you want to marry is drinking 3 or 4. She's not ready. She's not the wife material. Because the money that she will have taken to cook food tomorrow, she will use it to go and drink a bottle of beer with it, or drink bottles of beer. So if you want to get married, if you already know that you will be getting married in the nearest future, your life now should already speak. It should already reflect that truly you are prepared. When I look at some ladies, I just look at them and laugh. They're getting married next week. If you look at their lifestyle, I just pity the guys. I look at some other guys. Oh my God. And sometimes, this is why, you see, sometimes I begin to look at it like, some men just get married because they want to have, they want to be under that umbrella of, I am a married man. So when they go to certain places, they will give them the respect they deserve. But deep in them, they are pure single. I mean, their singleness is advanced. They are married, yet they keep living their lives like they are not married. And that's why I still call this generation a confused generation. You want to get married, but at the same time, you want to live a single kind of life. You know that kind of single life? Life that you're not accountable to anybody. Life that you don't answer yes to anybody. Life that you don't tell anybody where you are, what you're doing, who you are with. I mean, the life that you're not answerable to anybody. Nobody questions you what you've been doing or whatever. That kind of lifestyle that you can even go somewhere and decide to sleep over. That is singlehood life. But marriage life comes with a lot of responsibility. It comes with, first of all, like I said, I need to see people that are getting married calm. Honestly, if you want to get married and you're not calm, I'm just looking at you. You must have calmed down. Be calming down. Calm down. See, getting married means that you've looked at all of this lifestyle that is out there, and you've seen that you deserve something better. And so you want to settle down, have a cool head, raise up a family, focus, pursue your vision, build career, be successful with your spouse. I mean, intentional living. Getting married because everybody's getting married. You will get married and still live like a single. Getting married because maybe you want to follow some documents at the embassy. You will still live like a single. So what kind of mindset do you have now that you're still single? It is what will affect you even later on in marriage. Don't wait for that marriage to come. This is the best appropriate time for you to keep working on yourself. If you've had failed relationships in the past, be honest with yourself. Sit down and look at them. Why did this one fail? Why did this relationship with Peter fail? Why did this one with John fail? Why did this one with Paul fail? Begin to look at them. Now, when you begin to look at them, you begin to understand your aspect, what you contributed to make that relationship failing. And if you're an honest person, you begin to work on yourself. I always tell people to, the problem is not looking for Mr. Right or Mrs. Right. The problem is to be Mrs. or Mr. Right. Let it start with you. Be the person you want to marry. You will only attract your kind. You cannot put your trousers right down there at, below your buttocks, and you want to approach a kind of gentle lady and you think she will listen to you. You cannot be a lady with wide eyelashes. Some of these eyelashes, I am beginning to wonder if the devil is not coming into this, because it is scaring. He said, you see eyelashes, it's like how many meters? Let me not say meters, centimeters. But you look so wild. I mean, ladies that cannot even go out without makeup. Have confidence in yourself. Is it good to make up and look good? Yes. But there are times that you should feel good in your natural person. When you get married in the morning, early morning, your husband will see you without makeup. So whatever you want to be in marriage, you're going to see my profile, you're going to follow me. Thank you so much, Mr.
blessing to the society. I know a lot of people want to get to us. Please feel free to get to us, and we'll be able to give you a little knowledge we have to help you make a successful relationship.
Okay, and also to you, Reverend. Thank you for coming.
A great pleasure, Mr. Leo. Thank you for the great time we spent. We want to say it's been a great time with our viewers. I want to greet Mr. Vali Bigi Mbamenda for always being there. We appreciate all our viewers. Also appreciate our technical crew for the great job they're doing.
We want to thank the production team, Eli and Desmond, and to you, Tabitha Brian, for supervision. And to all of you who took time off to watch this edition of the program, thank you so much. Stay blessed. Bye-bye.